When I say make something special, I mean make something special, or it will be off with your head. Lindores Abbey Distillery, the cask of Lindores Sherry Edition. The first time that I saw some adverts and some YouTube videos on Lindores, the first thing that came to mind is that all that medieval movies that I love to watch, The Witcher, Game of Thrones, the Tudors. Oh, I love these old type of movies. And of course, first thing that came to mind, Lindores. It should definitely be a HBO series called Lindores. It is such a superior name. It shouts superiority for me, so I couldn't resist to do a little bit of an opening. I can just see the king shouting at them, make me something special. And of course, if it's not special, off with the head. I like that idea, and I had so much fun doing it. But of course, the whiskey itself, it took me a while to get a sample of this one. It's not really that easy to find here in Belgium, so I was quite excited to find the sample online. As you can imagine, I just had 500 reviews already in 2.5 years, so it's costing me a fortune. So it's not always possible for me to buy a full bottle, especially if I cannot, well, especially if I don't really like it in the end. There's so many hit and misses when it comes to whiskey, and if you have a particular palate, of course it's not always possible just to buy it and try it and realize that it's not the one that I like. And I have to refer to my nemesis, my kryptonite, the Millstone PX cask. Ooh, that was it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But of course, on to tonight's whiskey, the Lindores. It's sherry cask, and I do love a good sherry cask. As you can see by the color, it is a no age statement whiskey, and you see there is loads and loads of color to it. I tried to find a little bit of information to see the age of it, so maybe 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know. Couldn't find any information, even a little bit of speculation, a little bit of whispering in the dark net. I didn't find any information. So if you know, leave me a comment. It is natural color, so it must have been quite a wet sherry cask, just saying. So lovely dark amber color, natural color, and of course it's non-chill filtered, and it's bottled at 49.4% ABV. It is a single malt, and it is from the Lowlands of Scotland, and it was matured in Oloroso sherry butts. So quite looking forward to this one. Looking forward to the nose. For me, is a good sherry cask is always something that I love, and if it's a good cask, it will translate from nose to taste. So on the nose, on the Lindores sherry cask, cheers. Now, I did pour this one maybe 15 minutes ago, and I can tell you, it did need a little bit of time to open up. I was a little bit surprised on that first pour. There was not a lot going on. There was a sharpness, and that changed dramatically over 15 minutes time. It reminds me of that medieval concept where I have, that ruggedness, that sharpness, that aggressiveness that comes out from that 49.4% ABV. It reminds me of that medieval movies that I watch, at the Game of Thrones, the blood, the gore, the sharpness, that fighting. So that is the initial thought that I got. It had that sharpness, that alcohol, especially if you do a little bit of a twirl just to cover the glass, and you put your nose in, it does elevate and it does kick you in the nose. There's just that harshness, that sharpness. And then 2-3 seconds later, it mellows out. The king is happy, the world is at peace. And then that lovely light sherry sweetness come out. And I get that raisin notes, I get that chocolate note. It's like a dark, rich, aromatic chocolate. There's a hint of an orange note in it. You know, the chocolate that you get with the orange center. I get the hint of that. I also get a little bit of a dusty note. That dried fruit component is there. I get that little bit of that Christmas cake in a glass note. I get that Christmas spicy notes. I also get a little bit of a furniture polish note. And I think that is the high ABV kicking in. And that youthfulness, if you agitate just a little bit, that youthful note comes out. And it tells you that it is not an old whiskey. There's that robustness, that harshness that comes out. So don't do the shaky when you drink this one. So it is definitely also not overly sweet. Now I had some sherry whiskies that are really sweet on the nose. This one is just got a lovely sweetness. It's not that sickening sweet notes that you get in some of the, especially the Pedro Jimenez sherry cars. Not that I complain. Vanilla is also coming out. And that dark chocolate note seems to be a little bit more on the nose now. So definitely something, I like the nose. So on the taste, cheers. Even at that 49.4% ABV, it didn't shock me. Only thing that I just got is sweet. Sweet chocolate note. Not even a 60, maybe 65% cocoa. There's a sugary component to it. That raisins is definitely there. I also get quite a lot of a caramel note, a vanilla note. That Christmas cake in a glass type of note. There's a lovely sweetness, much sweeter on the taste than on the nose for me. And also, what I do pick up is a little bit of an oak, a little bit of a tannin, but just right at the back, I get that little bitter note. Just want to make sure. Cheers. Wow. There's a little creamy component to it for me. That is getting sweeter. That tannin, definitely there. It leaves your mouth a little bit dry, and I think that is because of the high ABV. So it just cleans the palate, so it leaves everything quite dry. But the initial sip, as soon as you, within a half a second, there was a little oily component to it, and that then completely disappears, leaving you with a little bit of a dry mouth feel. But definitely, I just want to make sure there's a roughness. There's a robustness. There's a little bit of a sharp edges. And that definitely comes from the, not so old whiskey. But it works. And it works for me with that little medieval note to it. That maybe they didn't have the perfect formula, but they did make something that made the king happy. Well, it makes me happy as well. Now on this one, 49.4% ABV, and I think it's time for just a little bit of water. Now, I bought a box full of droppers. I think 20 of them. Cannot find it. I don't understand what happened to it. So definitely, I'm sticking to that, my measuring tool, 5 milliliter spoon. Now in this one, I am only going to put a little bit at a time. I think it's going to be quite easy to overwater this one. So I have here a quarter of a teaspoon, and I'm just going to add maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of water. I have made some mistakes in my life before, adding a little bit too much water, and I thought I ruined it, and one of my subscribers said I'm an idiot, just add more whiskey. Well, that was a bloody good idea. Just add some more whiskey just to proof it up again. Well, you do end up with quite a big glass of whiskey. So quarter teaspoon. It does elevate it immediately. that molecules, that alcohol molecules, it's just releasing so much more flavor. Definitely much sweeter on the nose. That sherry note is just coming out. That dark chocolate is coming out. That Christmas cake in a glass is coming out. That little bit of that dark furniture polish note coming out. Maybe even a little bit of a leathery note. Nice fruity components, dried fruit. That raisins, the dates, the figs. Wow, a little bit of a butterscotch note coming out. Wow, it's really, really nice with a little bit of water. But I think that's perfect. On the taste with a quarter teaspoon. Ooh, my word. This is going to be a dangerous one. This is something that you're not going to put down. This, with that, even that little bit of water in it, it feels like so mellow. That fight on the whiskey, that sharpness, that harshness, for me it's completely gone. The king is really happy. And it is just a fantastic, sweet, aromatic, perfumey notes that comes out. That little dusty note is there. Just want to take one more sip. And you can go big. That hint of a tannin what was in without the water, now completely gone. It is just a lovely sweet sipping whiskey. Definitely something for the winter, front of the fire. Oh my word, this is nice. So what do you think? I see they do have quite a range of whiskey. Maybe if I can get some more of them, which one do you recommend that I try from Lindores? So please let me know in the comment which one should I try next and which is your favorite Lindores. Oh my word. And of course, I know it's the end of the video. I should have done it maybe halfway or at the beginning. Please remember to like and subscribe. Keep the channel going and I see you next time. Cheers.